What are some of the details surrounding why your father would have been assassinated?
So let me give you some context. There's a book called Cobalt Red that came out a year ago that did really well, and it was about making connection between raw minerals that comes out of the mines of Congo and how there's child exploitation that's happening through child labor, and how those minerals we're all connected to them in the Western world. Like there's a raw mineral called cobalt and coltan. 85% of the world's raw minerals of those materials actually come from the Congo, and those materials turns into chips and LCD. It's in our PlayStation, our iPhone. So there's been a little bit more visibility of how the Congo is tied. But the Congo is the second largest country in Africa. It's right there in the heart of Africa. It was colonized by the Belgium, and then eventually Congo had its independence in the 60s, just like how other African countries did between the 60s and the 70s. And there was a president who ruled for like 32 years. His name is Mobutu Sese Seko.
Mm-hmm.
In the 90s, he was becoming a tyrant. He was becoming weak. He was a dictator. He had a lot of money, a lot of relationships in and out with different Western world. But there was a rebellion group that was formed, and due to that rebellion group, so usually when there's a rebellion war happening, they start in one region and then they move until they capture the territory, and often they're heading towards the capital where centralized power is. Once you take over that area, then you become the ruler. So that's exactly what happened in the 90s. My father was a career government employee and military. That was his work. So he worked for Mobutu for many, many years. Towards the end of Mobutu's ruling, my father became the senior secretary of the general, who would be equivalent to like Secretary of War. And so he was his personal senior director, advisor. So when that happened, the war was already so deep. There were so many territory that the rebels already took over of Congo, that towards the end, there were already some negotiation happening in order to hand over the power, because they realized that Mobutu was weak. He wasn't going to, he didn't have enough momentum to still be in power. So that's the first war. Mobutu ended up getting overthrown. And when the rebels reached the capital, nobody fought against the rebel. Congolese people welcomed the rebel because they were ready for change.
Sure.
My father's boss, who was the Secretary of War, already was in the process of negotiating to make the transition happen smoothly. So when that happened, he actually ended up getting assassinated, the Secretary of War, the night before the rebels took over. He was assassinated by the president's son and his military, because the president's son was also had his own military group. I mean, it's wild. But anyway, because they felt like the Secretary of War became a traitor, he made a deal with the new rebel group.
So this is Mobutu's son.
Yeah, Mobutu's son.
Okay.
Yeah. So once that happened, that was the first time in my life that I experienced chaos. The Congolese people, they didn't fight against the rebel. The rebels came and took over, and what the rebels did is...
That sounds like they wanted change.
Yeah,
Right.
People
really wanted...
People went out in the main road and clapped for the rebels to walk in. They were welcomed, cheered.
That's how I understand.
But the rebels, what they did was they then empowered the Congolese people to make vengeance against anyone that worked for the ex-government. Either if you were a policeman, a military man, and you worked for the government. So the community itself started to take justice in their own hand. And that's where the chaos happened. But the rebel leader who became the president, his name was Joseph Kabila. When he came into power, during his path to power, he had some neighboring country militaries that helped them. So Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi. So some of their armed forces helped. They helped establish his military in order to take over. So what happened was they had some deals about how they were going to distribute the resources, but Kabila didn't like the pressure that he was feeling from his partners.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to move forward, he casticized them. So what he did is he parted ways with those government from those outside neighboring countries that helped them. He didn't just do that. He also called the military that helped contribute, he took their nationality and identified them as enemies. Rwandans, Burundians, and Ugandans. Mind you, Congo is so large that anytime there were ever some conflict in any of those neighboring countries, there were a lot of people that migrated in the Congo from those countries from a long time ago.
Why do you think he severed those relationships like that?
Well, I mean, one was because he didn't want to honor whatever deals that they made, but he also knew if he highlighted them as the antagonist, then the Congolese people will go behind him. They will support him because they're saying, hey, he's kicking out the foreigners, the outsiders. He's calling the outsiders enemies. Those outsiders were the people that our people fought against and died because of them. Now they're enemies. All right, they're enemies. We don't want them here, right? It's almost like you nationalizing your sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative impact of that was just like how he empowered the Congolese people to fight against ex-Mobutu's government, they did the same thing against citizens that lived in the Congo for a very long time who had ties to those countries. So normal people would go over your house if they knew you're from Burundi, from Rwanda, from Uganda. They would take your home. They would execute you. Just like when you heard the story of Hotel Rwanda, the genocide that happened in Rwanda in 94, 95.
Yeah.
Like the Congolese people.
That was a Don Cheadle movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Congolese people were killing Rwandans and Burundians outright.
Right. It was brutal.
So then the international world jumped in because they were like, oh, snap. Like, we turned our eyes against Rwanda during the genocide and almost 1 million people died in result of it. This doesn't look good if Congolese people are killing Rwandans. So they started making deals with the Kabila government in order to create camps throughout Congo that Rwandans can go to in order to find a way to try to either get them out of the country or getting somewhere else. So that's the chaos that I experienced. And so just mind you, like a rebel group just came, they become in power, people are making vengeance against ex-government official, and a few months later, the government saying, hey, anyone from those other countries, they're also bad guys. So then people start taking vengeance to themselves. So, and then what he did was he invited all the ex-government officials that used to work for Mobutu's government to come back and rebuild the country. And this is where my father came back because he was unemployed after Kabila came in. But once Kabila made that invitation, my father was like, oh, this is my chance again to serve the Congolese people. Let me go back and serve. Because it was in his blood. Like he was locked in on being a military person.
Yeah.
So he left and got reacquainted with the new government and how they were structuring their stuff, because they were also fighting. The Congolese military was fighting against all the troops that helped them get into power. So that he needed soldiers, right? So during that time, we attempted for almost 8 months to reunite with my father because he was deployed in a different region of Congo. But every time we would try to reunite with him, it would always be the areas where he was staying was unstable. They say there's a lot of instability there. You can't go there. So eventually at some point, The Congolese government, anytime they felt like the new government, anytime they felt like somebody was starting to build influence, they would take them out.
Hmm.
So you would hear this, you would see it on the news, you were like, oh, ex so and so who used to work for Mobutu's government is now working for Kabila's government, was arrested. He was accused of this. Oh, so and so. So you would see this often. And eventually that happened to my father as well. He was arrested with 13 other government official or military official, brought back to the capital, and they were accused of treason. And in the result of that, he was executed. So once he was executed, that's when everything changed for my family.
Yeah.
So that's where my journey starts. So everything we had, my mom was given an ultimatum. My mom was asked to give the children and restart her life. And that's a typical thing. Like, it's like,
Give the children?
yeah, give the children to my dad's family,
Okay.
and they could disperse us. You go live with this aunt. This kid goes lives with another aunt or another
And then she's
uncle.
supposed to just go and
Yeah, she just restarts her life, right? And she was
Yeah,
also
just-
she was also considered an outsider because she was half Burundi.
wow.
So now you see how I'm gonna tie the story back.
Wow.
So she decided to keep us. And in result of that, my father's side of family said, all right, we wash our hands then. Good luck with you and the kids. And at that time, everything we had was taken away. Our bank account, everything. My family, my dad's side of family took some of the land that was directly tied to, because my father was a patriarch of his family. There was over, 20 different family members, and he was the one in charge. So once my mom gave over the papers and she didn't want to give over the kids, we were useless to them,
Wow.
So we lived in a small little shack, some distant family members that my mom was connected to. And that's where the survivor journey starts. But through that time, it was about perseverance. It was about courage. It was about grit. So I saw my mom live that out on a daily basis.
And you were how old when this is happening?
So when
Before
my father was assassinated, I was 6.5. I was 6.5.
Clearly, do you remember that time frame?
That very clear,
Hmm.
very clear, because when my father was around, he always felt like he needed to prepare me for something. So he would always say stuff like, hey, I need you to take care of your mom. I need to take care of your brothers. Hey, you got to be sharp. Hey, you got to be polished. You got to be smart. You got to be focused.
Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest. Yeah. So I already had that. Like, so when you were asking questions about, what made you feel so grounded, or that was how I was brought up already.
Right.
I was brought up very, to be aware. Like, it was almost like I was being trained. I was being trained to.
It also sounds like, growing up in that environment, that was almost a silly question, just because you almost didn't have the luxury to feel that way.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's kind of
to question what are you talking
right.
about? Right.
So then when things started to,
it's a very Western.
When things started to break down, I kind of had no choice but to help. So when my mom would go out and, at the local school selling little small cookies that she made at the house, I'm the one who took care of my brothers. So that responsibility was like, hey, make sure after you come back from school, do this. When your younger brother, if he's crying too much and the bottle is starting to go small, bring him over to where I'm selling the cookies. I'll feed him, and you have to bring him back. So like, that was my responsibility,
right?
And at that time, the only thing I knew was how to contribute so we can continue to still survive.
Right.
And so the thing that was crazy was my mom, she started to try to figure out how she was going to get us out of the country. And so she started writing letters, and a lot of my dad's friends were very distant from us, but somebody gave us a connection to some NGO that was working out of the Congo that was trying to help the Rwandans and the Burundians that were being executed to get out of the Congo.
Okay.
So now you see how you see how the connection?
Right.
So then they're like, well, we can't get you guys out of the country by what happened to your father, but we might be able to get you out of the country with your Burundian background, because my mom was half Burundian and half Congolese, and she can speak the language well.
Wow.
So that was the play.
Well, I was going to ask about your mother's side of the family. So were they part of the picture?
So my mother's side of family, a good portion of her family members still lived in Burundi.
Okay.
And then my grandmother and 3 of my aunts lived in Kisangani, which is really far from where we were in Kinshasa. And we didn't have enough money to either go. So part of the plan was my mom was trying to make enough money. Maybe we move back to Kisangani, where her family is. But she really thought and believed that there was a greater thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when she started to talk to some of the NGOs, and they started to craft some ideas and plans of how to get us completely out of Congo, she became a sucker for that idea of like, there's a chance for my family to actually get out of the Congo. So those NGOs were the ones that really started to mentor her and said, hey, we're going to build your profile this way. And she betted on it and she believed in it. So here's the wild thing. Once those ideas started to build traction, because I was the only one that was really around, she would always confide in me. So she's like, hey, Dale, I got to let you know something. We're going to get out of here. Get out of here? Like, where are we going to go? No. We're going to go. Here was the first plan. So the first plan was to get adopted by a Catholic organization in Belgium, but they were only going to adopt the kids. And then my mom was going to move to like Kenya or Tanzania. And then the hope was eventually in life, we'll find a way to sponsor her. Brian, like that was the plan.
Imagine having to make those kinds of decisions.
She told me that, and I thought she went crazy. At 6.5, 7-year-old,
How old is your mother at this point?
At that time, she was born in 1973. So she was like maybe 20, 21, 23, 24 at that time. Yeah.
Trying to navigate this at 21.
24, 25. Yeah, around that.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
So I thought she went crazy because it's really foreign to me. We have nothing. There's an organization. You're talking to some people. The kids are going to get adopted in Belgium. And then you're going to move to Kenya. I'm like, you've gone crazy. So I would just go along with it. And then what happened was, she's like, we got to be ready at any time. Once the paperwork goes through and it's a green light, it's going to happen. Things are going to be okay, though. We're going to reconnect. This is a better. I never thought that's going to happen, Brian. Like, so I was like, never even really worried about it. Never had the thought of like, oh,
it wasn't even anything you could
like, conceive. My mom's not going to be with us anymore. Like, so then one time she came, she's like, so there's good news. I'm like, what is it now, Mom? She's like, so the U.S. government is going to be taking some Rwandans and Burundian out of Congo. And they're going to go to a refugee camp either in Kenya or Tanzania. But then after that, they're going to move to the States, to the U.S. So I'm like,
it sounds like you don't even believe it now. And you're like, yeah.
Even when I tell the story, I mean, and I've told my story in so many different places. What? Like, to the U.S.? Like, Bill Clinton, U.S.? This lady has a lot of mistake. Okay, Mom. She comes back another time. She's like, hey, Dale, it's really going to happen. So there's this secret refugee camp here in Kinshasa. They're housing a bunch of Rwandans and Burundian. We're going to go there first for a few months, and then we're going to go to a different place. But our final destination will be in the Congo. So a couple of weeks goes by. We used to always listen to the radio. Like, and there's a BBC that's covering Congolese. Kabila has agreed to allow some Rwandan refugees that are located in different places to be able to resettle. They're working with the U.S. government and the UN. So I'm like, but never thought in a million years that that would even be us.
Mm.
So then one time my mom is like, so I decided that I'm going to give our cooktop to this person because we lived like in a family compound where there was a bunch of other family that lived there.
How long did you live there?
We lived there for about 9 months.
Mm.
Prior to that, we lived there for 5 months before my father was assassinated. That's where we stayed briefly before we were trying to reconnect with my father.
Okay.
So she's telling me who she's gonna leave some of our stuff to. She's like, hey, I'm gonna buy you a new outfit. I'm gonna buy your brothers, but a lot of the stuff we have, we're gonna leave behind. We didn't really have much, so I'm like, this lady really believes it. Like, she's like, hey, when you come back after school, you gotta stay close by because when it happens, it's gonna happen quick.
Right, and be ready.
There was a guy that lived in the same compound as us. He had a paint shop up the street that I would work at sometimes. So mind you, I'm 7 years old. So this is prior to coming to the States. This was already the responsibility that I had.
Mm.
People already the guy used to let me run his paint shop.
Mm.
I mean, it didn't get a lot of traffic because there was
sure
probably 30 other paint shops that sold the same stuff.
But you were a trustworthy
But I was there in the shop, right?
Mm.
She's like, hey, if anything ever happens, I will send somebody to come and grab it, but you got to be ready. So the day it happens, Brian, I'm at the paint shop. Someone that lived in the complex with us runs up, goes, Dale, your mom's looking for you. She's saying that you guys are leaving. Leaving?
Mm-hmm.
So I head back to the compound. She's like, they just dropped me off. All the paperwork is passed. They're going to come back and pick us up. So it was like middle of the day. Not everybody's is there. Enough people that are in the complex are coming, like, kind of looking at my mom like, Bernadette. They used to call her Belka. Bernadette. Belt. Where are you bringing the kids? Oh, I can't really tell you guys, but did you see that Red Cross truck that dropped me off? They've been working with us. They've been working with me, and we're leaving. Eventually we're gonna end up in the US. So she's like, Dale, grab your stuff. Remember, like, we gotta go. So some people that are in the complex, they come and they're giving us hugs and stuff. And it's happening almost surreal. Like I'm trying to process, like, am I dreaming? Like what, like, this is real? And it's kind of hard. I'm almost having this auto body experience, and the car pulls up in front of the complex.
Time to go.
We gotta go. So I'm kind of saying bye, but I'm not really saying bye. I'm looking at my mom.
Not sure if you believe it.
Who are these people? Like,
right.
We get in the car, and she's like, Dale, I told you. I told you it was gonna happen. My brothers are too young. Like my brothers are too young.
How old are they?
Like Gideon at the time is, maybe he was born in November of 97. So this is happening like early 1998. So like, yeah. So it's like February.
He's 2 months old.
Yeah. So, and then Destin is a year and a half. Destin was born 96. Vinny was born in 93. And I was born in 90.
So all boys?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we get in the car. Now we're going downtown Kinshasa, where a lot of, like, the buildings are really nice, and pulled up in this building. She's like, I'll be right back. Goes in, grabs some papers. She's like, Dale, the place we're going right now it's going to be temporary. We're not going to be there long. But God answered our prayer. We're leaving. So we're driving. So we go to this neighborhood. It's like the rich neighborhood. This is all cement cement fencing where it's so high you can't even see the house. It's just cement fencing, cement fencing. So I'm like, oh snap! Like I remember this place because one of our family friend, whatever, used to, after my dad died, he would come through, and sometimes you just say, oh Dale, I'll take you out. We'll drive around and stuff. So I'm familiar with this neighborhood, but I've never been to that specific neighborhood. So we pull up in this gate. There's 4 army people, full machine gun, AK-47, M16 in front of this gate. The driver goes and shows the paperwork. The gate opens. As the gate is opening, I see kids running around. I see parents on the other side. There's a post inside with more military people. There is like a you know how like when you go to a pool, there's always a high chair. It's almost something like that, but it's like a tree house. Every couple of blocks against the wall, you see that. But there's soldiers on there with weapons. So I'm like, oh snap! Wow. This is real. We pull up in the compound. It's a compound, like multiple buildings. I see the swimming pool.
So now you're in the presence of U.S. military.
It's Congolese. It's Congolese military and some UN military.
The UN. Okay.
Yeah. Congolese military that are hired to protect, and then UN military.
Okay.
And then just a bunch of people in this huge compound, like just kids running around. And I'm kind of like, what is this? She's like, Dale, we're going to be here for a while. Registered. They're looking at all of our paperwork that my mom had that she just picked up in that office downtown. They bring us to the room, our room. So the way that it was set up, it was almost like hotel rooms, where you have a bathroom, a big room, and a little small kitchenette. The compound was like some foreign business company built this for their employees. I mean, it had a bowling alley, it had a nightclub. It was just a bunch of. So we walked into the room, and the room is nice to us, like because where we were staying was a shack. It had tin roof that had holes on it. When it would rain, the rain would fall on us. I mean, So just that alone, like we're like, wow, we're in like a clean room,
Step up, right?
So they bring clean sheets, towels, and extra mattresses. Excuse me. And my brothers are excited to have their own mattresses. And I just, at that moment, I realized that my mom wasn't crazy, that she was really working something out that brought us into this place. The people that were there were definitely, to us, they were foreigners, because a lot of them spoke Kinyarwanda, Kirundi. Some of them were literally coming from jails where they were held. NGOs advocated for them to get out of those jails.
Were these people who were like prisoners of war? Or?
No, they were just Rwandans and Burundians. That were being persecuted in the Congo after Kabila kicked all them out.
I see. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the first proof of concept that like my mom was actually telling the truth. And then we ended up staying there for 2.5 months. And you go through so many set of interviews. Most of the interviews, my mom was the one who was doing the interviews alone. So she needed to keep the same narrative. Whatever narrative that the NGOs helped her craft in the beginning, that's what she needed to stick with.
Yeah.
It wasn't, oh, my husband worked for the Congolese government.
Right.
We're scared that we're going to get killed too. No, it was, I'm Burundian, and my life is in the line. My children and I's life is in the line, and I need help, or else I might not survive. They took her family's last name, because her last name was Mawazo. It means to ponder or to think in Swahili.
Okay.
But her family also had another last name that was her grandmother's, which had more Rwandan and Burundian, which was Uwimana.
Mm.
Shimimana in Kinyarwanda, Uwimana in Kirundi. So that was her last name. But we still kept my father's last name, Mwano.
Mm-hmm.
And every time she would go through this interview, she's like, "Oh, the interviews went well. They're saying that we're gonna more likely be part of the first group of people." In that compound, maybe at the time there was probably close to 250 people. And when the first list, we didn't know where we were gonna go, either Kenya or Tanzania, but we knew the final destination was the US. And that, to me, I still didn't believe that. When the list came, the first list, 130 families were first selected to leave. We were on the list, and the destination was Benin, Western Africa, near Togo. So we were excited that we were on the list, but it was a big risk because we're about an hour and a half from the airport from where we were, and leading to that ended up being leaked. And so the Congolese government was trying to get good brownie points from the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this stuff was being negotiated by some NGOs, some like IOM, which is International Office of Migration for the US.
Mm-hmm.
So some of this stuff, like, you know how, like, I hate to say this, but you know how, like, Trump always says, like, let's make a deal. There's deals that happens. Like,
there are many things.
There's some serious stuff that happens. Like,
sure.
Like, so the Congolese government was okay with that group of refugees that were being hosted in a secret refugee camp in the capital to leave. So they agreed that they were going to allow that first group to leave, and we were part of the first group. So the day that it came, it was like 3 or 4 long Greyhound buses type of bus came through. Again, whatever we had with us, and a huge envoy, military, police, UN in the front, in the middle, in the back of the convoy. And that morning there was a radio announcement that stated that, oh, here we go, our traitor president is allowing these traitors to live our country. And it was the scariest feeling from that hour and a half that we took from the compound to the airport, Brian. And I remember my mom she was just holding on to us, and the thought that it was so close. We're like, oh my gosh, we are leaving Congo. Like, so we get there. By the time we get to the airport, like, people are looking around, like, who are these people?
Right.
Like, originally we were supposed to get out before and then walk through, but the NGOs were able to negotiate with the custom and say, hey, like, we've already vetted everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have to drive all the way to the tarmac. Luckily, that's what happened. Yeah. The buses went all the way in front of the tarmac where the stairs were. And as we got out, my mom was just holding on to us, and we're walking up the stairs, we're sitting on the chair, and the door shuts. It's quiet. Some of the NGO agents that were helping out, they were on the flight with us. You can hear the engine, and then the plane starts moving slowly, starts catching speed, and before you know it, the plane was in the air, and people started clapping. And like, I feel like I'm in a dream. Like, I can't even, like, really grasp it, you know? And my mom is like, I remember her saying something like, even if we don't make it anywhere else, at least we're out of this country.
What's the lesson that taught you?
Be fearless, not give up, have hope, build relationship, trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Like,
just hey, what's up? Just one sec. This podcast is produced by myself, edited by Jens Reyes, and theme music is produced by The Archetype. If you like this episode, please subscribe and share and leave us a rating. This helps us more than I can even express and allows us to provide more value. Thank you very much. Peace.